Have you ever thought that something as small as a pebble could completely change your life? It sounds crazy, right? But what if I told you that keeping a tiny stone in your pocket could lead to amazing spiritual growth? This isn't just some made-up story. It's a real discovery by Dolores Cannon, a woman who spent her life exploring the depths of human consciousness. And trust me, this simple trick might just be the key to unlocking a whole new world of spiritual experiences. Now you might be thinking, come on, how can a rock in my pocket make any difference? I get it. I was skeptical too at first. But stick with me here, because what I'm about to share could be the missing piece in your spiritual journey. It's not about the rock itself, but what it represents and how it can shift your entire perspective on life. Let's be honest for a moment. How many of us have felt stuck in our spiritual growth? Maybe you've tried meditation, but your mind keeps racing. Or perhaps you've read countless self-help books, but nothing seems to stick. It's like we're all searching for something, but we can't quite put our finger on what it is. I've been there too. I remember feeling like I was going in circles, always ending up back where I started. It's frustrating, isn't it? You try so hard to become more mindful, more present, more spiritually aware. But life keeps getting in the way. Work stress, family responsibilities, the constant ping of notifications on your phone, it all adds up. And before you know it, another day has passed, and you haven't made any progress on your spiritual path. It's easy to feel discouraged when this happens. You might start to wonder if you're doing something wrong. Are you just not cut out for this spiritual stuff? Is it all just a bunch of nonsense? These thoughts can creep in, making you want to give up on your spiritual journey altogether. But here's the thing, you're not alone in feeling this way. So many of us struggle with the same issues. We want to grow, to evolve, to become better versions of ourselves. But it often feels like we're fighting an uphill battle. We try different techniques, follow various gurus, maybe even go on retreats. And while these things can be helpful, they often don't provide the lasting change we're looking for. That's where Dolores Cannon's discovery comes in. It's not about adding more complicated practices to your life. It's about simplifying things. It's about finding a way to stay connected to your spiritual self, even in the midst of your busy everyday life. And believe it or not, it all starts with something as simple as a pebble in your pocket. Now, I know what you're thinking. A pebble? Really? How can something so small and ordinary make any difference in my spiritual life? But that's exactly the point. The power of this method lies in its simplicity. Imagine carrying a tiny reminder of your spiritual journey with you everywhere you go. It's not flashy or complicated. It doesn't require any special skills or knowledge. It's just there in your pocket, quietly nudging you throughout the day. This isn't about the pebble itself, it's about what it represents. It's a physical anchor to your spiritual intentions. Every time you feel it in your pocket, it brings you back to the present moment. It reminds you of your goals, your aspirations, your desire to grow and evolve. Think about it. How many times a day do you reach into your pocket? Maybe you're grabbing your phone, your keys, or some loose change. Each of those moments becomes an opportunity for spiritual connection. It's like having a mini meditation session right there in the middle of your day. But it goes even deeper than that. This simple practice can start to rewire your brain. It creates a new habit, a new pattern of thinking. Instead of getting caught up in the stress and chaos of daily life, you have this constant reminder to come back to your center. And the best part? It's completely personal to you. Your pebble can represent whatever you want it to. Maybe it's a reminder to be more patient, or to practice gratitude, or to stay true to your values. The meaning is yours to choose. This is what makes Dolores Cannon's discovery so powerful. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. It's a tool that you can adapt to your own needs and beliefs. It's spiritual growth on your own terms. Now you might be wondering, who is this Dolores Cannon, and why should I trust her? That's a great question, and it's important to understand the source of this wisdom. Dolores Cannon wasn't just some random person who came up with a cute idea. She was a pioneering researcher in the field of hypnotherapy and past life regression. For over 45 years, Dolores explored the hidden realms of human consciousness. She worked with thousands of people, helping them access deep levels of their subconscious minds. Through this work, she uncovered incredible insights about the nature of reality, spirituality, and human potential. Dolores wasn't interested in flashy techniques or complicated rituals. She was all about finding simple, practical ways to connect with our higher selves. And that's exactly what led her to this discovery. The idea of the pocket pebble came from her understanding of how our minds work. She realized that we need constant reminders to stay on our spiritual path. But these reminders don't have to be big or dramatic. In fact, the smaller and more subtle they are, the more effective they can be. This is because our subconscious minds are always at work, even when we're not aware of it. By introducing a small physical object into our daily routine, we're giving our subconscious a focal point. It's like planting a seed of awareness that grows over time. Dolores found that this simple practice could lead to profound changes in people's lives. It wasn't just about feeling more spiritual in the moment. It was about gradually shifting their entire perspective on life. People who tried this method reported feeling more calm and centered. They found it easier to deal with stress and anxiety. They became more aware of their thoughts and actions. And perhaps most importantly, they felt a deeper connection to their spiritual selves. But Dolores didn't just take people's word for it. She observed these changes firsthand in her hypnotherapy sessions. She saw how this simple practice could open up new pathways in the mind, leading to deeper insights and more profound spiritual experiences. What's amazing about this discovery is that it doesn't require any special skills or knowledge. You don't need to be a spiritual guru or a meditation expert to benefit from it. All you need is a small pebble and an open mind. This accessibility was important to Dolores. She believed that spiritual growth should be available to everyone, not just a select few. By sharing this simple technique, she hoped to empower people to take control of their own spiritual journeys. So when you carry that pebble in your pocket, you're not just carrying a rock. You're carrying the wisdom of years of research and exploration into the human mind and spirit. You're tapping into a powerful tool for transformation that has helped countless people around the world. But don't just take my word for it. The real power of this practice comes when you try it for yourself. That's what Dolores would have wanted. She always encouraged people to experiment, to find what works for them. So why not give it a try? Find a small pebble that feels right to you. It doesn't have to be anything special, just a simple stone that you can easily carry in your pocket. As you go about your day, pay attention to how it feels. Notice the moments when you become aware of it. Use those moments as opportunities to check in with yourself, to reconnect with your spiritual intentions. You might be surprised at how quickly you start to notice changes. Maybe you'll find yourself feeling more grounded throughout the day, or perhaps you'll start to see patterns in your thoughts and behaviors that you never noticed before. Whatever happens, remember that this is your journey. There's no right or wrong way to do it. And who knows, 50 years from now, you might look back and realize that this simple practice was the start of something incredible. You might find yourself thankful for that little pebble in your pocket, grateful for the wisdom of Dolores Cannon, and amazed at how far you've come on your spiritual path. So go ahead, pick up that pebble, keep it in your pocket, and get ready for a journey of spiritual growth that could last a lifetime. When Dolores Cannon stumbled upon the idea of using a simple object for spiritual growth, she didn't realize just how powerful it would be. It all started during one of her hypnotherapy sessions. A client, deep in a trance state, mentioned how they wished they could always feel as connected and spiritually aware as they did during these sessions. This got Dolores thinking. How could she help people maintain that spiritual connection in their everyday lives? She knew that most people couldn't spend hours meditating or doing complex spiritual practices. There had to be a simpler way. That's when the idea of the pocket pebble came to her. She thought about how we often carry lucky charms or meaningful objects with us. Why not use that same concept for spiritual growth? Dolores decided to try it out. She gave her next client a small, smooth pebble and asked them to carry it in their pocket. She told them to use it as a reminder of their spiritual journey, to touch it whenever they needed to center themselves. The results were astounding. The client came back for their next session, reporting that they felt more grounded and spiritually aware than ever before. They said the pebble had become like a little anchor, bringing them back to the present moment throughout the day. Excited by this discovery, Dolores began recommending the practice to more of her clients. And time after time, she saw remarkable changes. People who had struggled for years with meditation or other spiritual practices suddenly found themselves making progress. But it wasn't just about feeling good in the moment. Dolores noticed that over time, this simple practice was leading to profound shifts in people's lives. They were making better decisions, feeling more connected to their intuition, and experiencing a deeper sense of peace and purpose. For Dolores, this was a game changer. She had always believed that spiritual growth should be accessible to everyone, not just those who could afford expensive retreats or had hours to spend in meditation. With the pocket pebble, she had found a way to bring spiritual practice into everyday life. As she continued to explore this method, Dolores realized that the pebble was more than just a reminder. It was a tool for reprogramming the subconscious mind. Every time someone touched the pebble, they were reinforcing their commitment to their spiritual path. They were creating new neural pathways, literally rewiring their brains for spiritual growth. This discovery became a cornerstone of Dolores's work. She began incorporating it into her books and lectures, sharing it with people all around the world. And everywhere she went, she heard stories of how this simple practice was changing lives. Now, you might be wondering how something as simple as a pebble in your pocket can have such a big impact. It's not magic. There's actually some solid science behind it. First, let's talk about the power of physical touch. When you reach into your pocket and feel that pebble, you're activating your sense of touch. This sends a signal to your brain, instantly bringing your attention to the present moment. It's like a mini wake-up call, pulling you out of your thoughts and into the here and now. But it goes deeper than that. Every time you touch the pebble with the intention of connecting to your spiritual self, you're creating a mental association. Your brain starts to link the physical sensation of touching the stone with the feeling of being spiritually centered. Over time, this association gets stronger. It's like training a muscle. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. Eventually, just feeling the pebble in your pocket can trigger a sense of calm and spiritual connection, even if you don't consciously think about it. This is where the concept of neuroplasticity comes in. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to form new connections and pathways. Every time you use the pocket pebble as a spiritual reminder, you're strengthening certain neural pathways in your brain. You're literally rewiring your mind for greater spiritual awareness. But it's not just about what's happening in your brain. The pocket pebble also works on a psychological level. It serves as a constant reminder of your commitment to spiritual growth. In a world full of distractions, it's easy to forget our spiritual goals. The pebble acts as a physical anchor, keeping us connected to our intentions throughout the day. There's also something to be said for the symbolism of the pebble. It's a small piece of the natural world that you carry with you. In our modern, tech-driven lives, we often feel disconnected from nature. The pebble serves as a tiny reconnection, a reminder of the larger world we're part of. Another fascinating aspect of this practice is how it taps into the power of ritual. Humans have used rituals for thousands of years to create meaning and invoke certain states of mind. By turning the act of touching your pocket pebble into a mini ritual, you're tapping into this ancient wisdom. The beauty of this method is its simplicity. You don't need any special equipment or skills. You don't need to set aside hours of your day. It's a spiritual practice that fits seamlessly into your life, no matter how busy you are. And perhaps most importantly, it's a practice that grows with you. As your spiritual journey evolves, the meaning you attach to the pebble can change too. It's a flexible tool that adapts to your needs and beliefs. Now that we understand how the pocket pebble works, let's talk about the benefits. And trust me, they go way beyond just feeling a bit more spiritual. First and foremost, this practice can significantly reduce stress and anxiety. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in worries about the future or regrets about the past. The pocket pebble serves as a constant reminder to come back to the present moment. And when we're present, we're not stressing about what might happen or what has already happened. Many people who've tried this method report feeling more calm and centered throughout their day. They find it easier to handle difficult situations without getting overwhelmed. It's like having a little piece of peace right there in your pocket. Another major benefit is increased self-awareness. As you get into the habit of checking in with yourself throughout the day, you start to notice patterns in your thoughts and behaviors. You might realize that you tend to get stressed at certain times of day or in certain situations. This awareness is the first step towards making positive changes in your life. The pocket pebble can also help improve your focus and concentration. In a world full of distractions, it's hard to stay focused on what really matters. But when you have a physical reminder of your intentions, it becomes easier to redirect your attention to what's truly important. Many people find that this practice enhances their intuition. By regularly connecting with your inner self, you become more attuned to your gut feelings. You might find yourself making better decisions or feeling more confident in your choices. There's also a spiritual benefit that goes beyond the individual. As you become more centered and aware, you're likely to find that your relationships improve. You might become a better listener, more patient with others, more understanding of different perspectives. Some people even report that this practice has helped them tap into their creativity. By quieting the constant chatter of the mind, they make space for new ideas and inspirations to arise. But perhaps the most profound benefit is a deepening sense of connection to yourself, to others, and to the world around you. Many people describe feeling a greater sense of purpose and meaning in their lives. They feel more in tune with their values and more motivated to live in alignment with them. It's important to note that these benefits don't happen overnight. Like any spiritual practice, this is a journey. The changes might be subtle at first, but over time, they can add up to a significant transformation. And here's the really exciting part. These benefits tend to snowball. As you become more centered and aware, you're likely to make better choices in your life. These better choices lead to better outcomes, which in turn reinforce your spiritual practice. It's a positive cycle that can lead to profound changes over time. Remember, everyone's experience with this practice will be unique. The benefits you experience might be different from someone else's. That's the beauty of personal spiritual growth. It's a journey that's uniquely yours. Now that we've explored the science and benefits behind this practice, let's dive into how you can actually use it in your daily life. Don't worry, it's simpler than you might think. First, you need to choose your pebble. This is more important than you might realize. Take some time to find a stone that feels right to you. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. A simple pebble from your garden or a nearby park will do. The key is that it should feel comfortable in your pocket and easy to hold. Some people like to choose a pebble with a specific color or shape that has meaning for them. Others prefer a plain, nondescript stone. There's no right or wrong choice here. Go with what feels good to you. Once you've chosen your pebble, spend a few moments connecting with it. Hold it in your hand, feel its texture, its weight. Take a deep breath and set an intention for your practice. This could be something like, I want to feel more peaceful, or I want to grow spiritually, whatever resonates with you. Now, put the pebble in your pocket, and that's it. You've started. But of course, the real practice comes in how you use it throughout your day. The basic idea is to use the pebble as a reminder to check in with yourself. Whenever you feel the pebble in your pocket, or whenever you consciously reach for it, take a moment to pause. Take a deep breath. Reconnect with your intention. You might want to set specific times to check in with your pebble. For example, you could touch it every hour on the hour, or whenever you transition between activities. Some people like to hold their pebble during their morning coffee, using it as a time for reflection and setting intentions for the day. Remember, this isn't about spending long periods in deep meditation, although you certainly can if you want to. It's about creating brief moments of awareness throughout your day. Even just a few seconds of conscious attention can make a difference. As you go about your day, pay attention to when you naturally become aware of the pebble. You might find that it tends to catch your attention during stressful moments. This is perfect. Use it as a cue to take a deep breath and center yourself. Don't worry if you forget about the pebble for long periods. That's totally normal, especially when you're first starting out. The awareness will grow over time. And even when you're not consciously thinking about it, the pebble is still there, working its subtle magic. Some people like to combine this practice with other spiritual techniques. For example, you might use the pebble as a focus for a short meditation, or pair it with a mantra or affirmation. Feel free to experiment and find what works best for you. At the end of each day, take a moment to reflect on your experience. Did you notice any changes in your mood or behavior? Were there moments when the pebble was particularly helpful? This reflection can help deepen your practice and make it more meaningful. Remember, consistency is key. Try to carry your pebble with you every day, even if you don't always remember to use it. Over time, it will become a natural part of your routine. And don't be afraid to adapt the practice as you go along. Your needs and goals may change over time, and your pebble practice can change with them. The beauty of this method is its flexibility. It can grow and evolve with you on your spiritual journey. To really understand the power of this practice, let's look at some real-life examples of how it has changed people's lives. Take Sarah, for instance. She was a busy mom of 3 who always felt overwhelmed and stressed. She started carrying a smooth river rock in her pocket, touching it whenever she felt her anxiety rising. After a few weeks, she noticed that she was yelling at her kids less and feeling more patient overall. "It's like that little rock reminds me to take a breath before I react," she says. "It's made me a calmer, happier mom." Then there's Mike, a high-powered executive who was always chasing the next big deal. He chose a piece of rose quartz as his pocket stone, associating it with love and compassion. Over time, he found himself making decisions not just based on profit, but on what was best for his employees and community. "That stone changed my whole approach to business," he reflects. "I'm not just successful now, I feel fulfilled." Another inspiring story comes from Elena, a college student struggling with self-doubt. She picked up a tiny amethyst crystal, believing it would help boost her confidence. Whenever she felt nervous before a test or presentation, she would touch the crystal in her pocket. "It's like having a little cheerleader with me all the time," she laughs. "I've become so much more confident, and my grades have improved too." These are just a few examples of the many lives that have been transformed by this simple practice. From reducing anxiety and improving relationships to boosting confidence and changing career paths, the effects can be truly profound. What's particularly striking about these stories is how diverse they are. People from all walks of life with different beliefs and backgrounds have found value in this practice. It goes to show that spiritual growth doesn't have to be complicated or exclusive. It can be as simple as a pebble in your pocket. Now, let's look ahead, way ahead. Imagine yourself 50 years from now looking back on your life. What would you see? If you start this practice today and stick with it, you might be amazed at the journey you've taken. You might see a life filled with more peace, more purpose, more connection. You might see challenges that you faced with grace and resilience, all because of the constant reminder in your pocket. You might see relationships that deepened because you became more present and understanding. You might see career success that came not just from hard work, but from being centered and making wise decisions. You might see a spiritual journey that took you to places you never imagined. And all of this from something as simple as a pebble in your pocket. This is why the title of this video promises that you'll be thankful for 50 years. Because this isn't just about feeling good in the moment. It's about setting in motion a lifelong journey of growth and transformation. Think about it. Every day, multiple times a day, you're reminding yourself of your spiritual intentions. You're training your mind to be more present, more aware. You're creating new habits and patterns of thought. Over months and years, this adds up to major change. It's like compound interest for your soul. Small, consistent efforts over time lead to massive results. And the beautiful thing is, it's never too late to start. Whether you're 18 or 80, you can begin this practice today and see the effects ripple out through your life. 50 years from now, you might look at that worn, smooth pebble and marvel at all it represents. All the moments of peace it brought you, all the wise choices it helped you make, all the growth it inspired. You might find yourself feeling deeply grateful to Dolores Cannon for sharing this wisdom, to yourself for sticking with the practice, and even to that humble little pebble that's been with you all along. As we wrap up this exploration of the pocket pebble practice, I hope you're feeling inspired and empowered. Remember, this isn't about magical thinking or instant transformation. It's about creating a simple, consistent practice that can lead to profound changes over time. The power is in your hands, or more accurately, in your pocket. You don't need any special skills or knowledge. You don't need to radically change your life overnight. All you need is a pebble and the willingness to try something new. So why not give it a shot? Find your pebble, set your intention, and start your journey. Who knows where it might lead you? 50 years from now, you might just find yourself looking back and thinking, wow, I'm so glad I picked up that pebble. Your future self might be incredibly thankful for the simple action you take today. Remember, every great journey begins with a single step, or in this case, with a single pebble. Your spiritual adventure awaits. Are you ready to begin?